Chapter 34, Selection. Athena materializes on Mount Olympus and enters the Gate of Clouds. She walks through the great atrium and down the great hall. She arrives in the council room and finds the thrones are vacant. Upset, she sits down in her throne and contemplates the future order of gods and goddesses. She really needs her father right now. Zeus's wisdom would be undeniably powerful at this moment. Still, she cannot help but partially blame him. This calamity occurred during his unexplained absence. If only he were watching more closely, the Egyptians would never have gained control of the portal. If only he were fighting more fiercely, the Egyptians would never have the chance. If only... Her thoughts are interrupted by the sight of Poseidon and Hera entering the throne room from the southern side of Olympus. At the end of the hall was Zeus and Hera's private quarters. Poseidon certainly had no business on that side of Olympus. As far as she knew, only Zeus and Hera were even permitted beyond the hall. Something evil is going on, and though she couldn't prove a thing, her suspicions were heightened. Poseidon greets her with faux pleasure.
Athena, how wonderful to see you. Tell us glorious news from the front lines. Is that pesky darkness on the run?
I'm afraid I have no such wonderful news to share. The situation for the portal has taken a dire turn. Hera makes a veiled attempt to appear interested. She walks the 3 crystalline steps to her ivory throne. It has been many centuries since I took an interest in the war. Are we not winning? Athena's eyes flash red. Poseidon answers Hera in Athena's stead.
I'm afraid, my queen, that the darkness has gained the upper hand in the conflict.
Surely our forces are better trained than those from the underworld, Hera replies. She looks directly at Athena. Perhaps there is a lacking of proper leadership. In any event, I'm sure it is something that can be overcome. Poseidon attempts to balance the room as Athena and Hera have no love lost for one another.
It's the Egyptians, your highness.
They no longer participate in the battles. The light is vastly outnumbered. Hera is about to speak, but Athena has no interest in anything she might say. The Egyptians are fighting now, Athena reports. Poseidon is pleased.
Certainly. This news deserves several glasses of nectar.
He nods to a servant, who prepares goblets of the fine liquid.
Did Horus ride in and take control? I always respected that youngster. Always knew great things would come his way.
Athena smashes her goblet to the floor. Yes, Horus rode in. Yes, he took control. His Egyptian army turned on us. They slaughtered us from behind, while the darkness attacked us from the front. We were ambushed. Poseidon's eyes widen.
Horus is aligned with the darkness?
No. Set's armies slaughtered the opposing frost giants. What I'm telling you is, there is no light or darkness any longer. Set and Horus joined armies and routed us. But I'm leaving out the worst part.
Worst part?
Horus and Set now control the portal, and they know how to use it. They sent me here to deliver the news. So you're what Hermes would look like were he a girl, Hera says. Athena glares at her stepmother. What, darling? You don't approve of the comparison? Stronger leadership would have prevented this. You have no one to blame but yourself. Where's my father? Athena demands. Hera chuckles. Your father? Why, I don't know, dear. But then who am I to question his whereabouts? I am only his wife. The leaders of all pantheons must meet. So I ask you again, where is Zeus? Poseidon rises from his throne.
Athena, Zeus has been absent for some time. I cannot help but think that if he were present, we would not find ourselves in this situation. I recommend a change in leadership, a vote of no confidence.
Athena seethes. I will not allow that to happen, uncle. You will not take my father's throne. If anyone should, it should be Apollo.
Need I remind you that Apollo seems to be missing as well?
Athena seethes. Well, I suppose it's up to me. Hera laughs. You were always such a spoiled little brat. Your father's darling. He gave birth to you himself, you know. You sprang right out of his head like a pimple. He always favored you and his bastard son Apollo over our legitimate children. Our mortals practice democracy. Perhaps it is time we do it ourselves. Order Hermes to gather the other Olympians. Hera looks down her nose. Order? Athena swallows her pride. Please, my queen. Hermes makes quick work of summoning the others. They abandon their duties and immediately make pilgrimage to Olympus, as Hermes has explained the magnitude of the decision that must be made. Naturally, he is unable to locate Artemis or Apollo. Ares, the god of war, and Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, arrived first. They were in the midst of passion when Hermes appeared in the bedroom. Both entered the throne room disheveled and reeking of sex. Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, smiles at her sister Hera, then hugs her niece Athena. She casts a furtive glance at Poseidon, but turns away when he attempts eye contact. Dionysus, the god of wine, makes quite an entrance. He is stumbling drunk and leans against the sacred statue that crashes to the marble floor. All avert their eyes, even as Dionysus attempts a half-arsed apology. Last to arrive is Hephaestus, the god of fire and the forge. The crippled god moves slowly to his throne and sits alone at the end of the semicircle. Ares calls to Hephaestus. Hey, old boy, have you seen your wife lately? I know I have. This causes Aphrodite to blush happily. She puts her arm around Ares, flaunting her affair in front of her husband and the other Olympians. Ares, Hera shouts, that's enough. Hephaestus is my son, just as well as you are. I do not appreciate your behavior at the expense of your brother. Half-brother, Ares corrects. You made that mess of a god all by yourself. Hera stares disapprovingly at her son. Ares stares down to the floor. My sister, you've got your hands full with those two, Demeter says to Hera. Dionysus is annoyed. Could someone please explain to me why we are here? Hermes pulled me out of a perfectly good orgy that I'd like to rejoin. Zeus is missing, and the Egyptians have taken control of the portal, Athena answers. Whoa, that's a lot to take in. But I'll see where I come into play. In Zeus's absence, we need to elect a new leader. Someone with the wisdom and experience of warfare, Poseidon interrupts. Or perhaps someone with experience in actually ruling, who controls the seas? That would be you, Dionysus slurs. Then it should be clear to you all that I am the most qualified, Poseidon boasts. This is a time of war, and I am a war goddess. Leadership needs to focus on battle savvy, Athena says. Perhaps Athena is being hasty. We do not know what changes the Egyptians will attempt to introduce. There may be none at all. Better to be prepared for war and have none than to have one and not be prepared, Athena says. Lest you forget who the true god of war is, Athena, Ares says. I cast my vote for Poseidon. Ares throws his stone into Poseidon's circle. Aphrodite smiles at Ares and follows suit. 2 votes for Poseidon are tallied. Hephaestus hobbles down from his throne. I cannot, with good conscience, cast a stone with my brother. Therefore, I support Athena. Athena nods politely. Must be awful difficult having a conscience, brother, Ares says as he hugs Aphrodite. Glad I don't have one. I visited the Egyptians when Horus first claimed the mantle and was treated well, Hermes recalls. However, what he did on the ethereal plane is unforgivable. I stand with Athena. The piles are now 2 stones apiece. Poseidon attempts to lobby Dionysus. You should support me, he says. I can offer your vineyards protection from earthquakes. An earthquake vineyard? I already have one, because of your angry shakes, Dionysus says. It produces some of my finest grapes. I'll take my chances. Dionysus lobs his stone to Athena's pile, and Poseidon grows angry as Athena's votes now eclipse his own. Poseidon, Demeter says, we have children together, and you have always shown to be a good father. I'm sure you will make a fine leader as well. Her vote is cast. Including the votes cast by Poseidon, there are 4 stones in each pile. All eyes, except for those of Athena, look to Hera. Athena knows what the outcome will be. Hera rises from her throne and walks straight to Athena. Here I hold the key to the future. What's it going to be, Athena? Should I cast this stone for my bastard stepdaughter or my favorite brother? Athena is crushed. Please, my queen, please use wisdom and not anger. I am better qualified for this role. I know the other pantheons well. It will appear to Odin that Poseidon is being opportunistic, nor will Ahura Mazda, as he holds wisdom in very high regard. The others will follow their leads.
Ahura Mazda, you must be joking,
Poseidon says.
I have little use for that Persian. As for Odin, well, you will be of great help in convincing him that removing Zeus was necessary. I assume you will be a supportive member of the leader elected by your fellow Olympians.
I will, but after I have said my piece. When Zeus returns, Poseidon must give up the throne. That is only right. The others nod in agreement. On that day, Poseidon, you will have hell to pay. Hera smiles at Athena, then turns and gently places her stone in Poseidon's pile. Those who voted for Poseidon cheer. Dionysus stumbles over and congratulates the new chief god. About that earthquake, perhaps you could summon one to aid my crop. He pauses. That's my punishment, naturally.
Perhaps, but Hera and I shall receive the finest of your wine.
That only seems fair. Hera leads Poseidon to Zeus's throne. It is black marble with gold ornamentation. Its 7 steps contain each hue of the rainbow, a kingly chair for a kingly god. I think some nectar is appropriate, Ares says, pointing to the servants. While the goblets are being filled, Hephaestus hobbles to Athena's side. Anything you need, just say the word. The crippled god limps through the atrium and past the clouded gates. Dionysus whispers in Athena's ear. Want to get drunk and go to an orgy? Athena sighs. You know, I think I might. Miles beneath the sea, a cavern exists with bars blocking the entrance. Mermaids, mermen, and sea creatures of all kinds swim to the undersea prison and look upon its inhabitant as though it is a thalassic zoo. Daring mermen swim close to the barricade, peering their heads inside in an attempt to show bravery to the comely young mermaids. Some hurl stones between bars at the prisoner, while others rake the bars with tritons. Still, the captive shows no emotion. Zeus has lost track of how long he's been trapped here, but knows he isn't going to be released anytime soon, if at all. Poseidon lured him here, claiming he had discovered a second portal deep in the ocean. The king of gods broke away from the maiden with whom he was engaging in sexual congress and followed his brother beneath the waves. There, Poseidon pointed him to this cave, and Zeus swam inside. Slam went the bars, and the great god became trapped. Zeus's primary weapon is the lightning bolt. Obviously, Poseidon had gambled he would be unable to utilize them underwater, and Zeus could not. Poseidon had spoken to Hera on the matter, and received her blessing to carry forward with the plan. She had long grown tired of Zeus's constant infidelities. Hera and Poseidon soon developed a romantic element to their relationship. The two of them working together resulted in the banishment of Artemis and Apollo. The one thing they could not have planned for was the Egyptian coup and subsequent capture of Sphaera Eternus. Now it was not only the intended targets trapped on Earth, but Poseidon's favorite son, Triton, as well. Sea creatures talk amongst themselves, and Zeus still had superior hearing. Learning that Triton was confined to the earthly realm was a singular delight he could relish.